Hello everyone, John Donnelly is my name from Your Holistic Academy, and today I have with me special guest Aideen Ní Riada, all the way from Michigan.
Hello, John. Thanks for having me. It's great to
Not
be
not
here.
not originally Michigan, originally Wexford, Aideen, yeah?
Well, you could say originally Michigan if you think that my mom did come from Michigan and she moved to Ireland to marry my dad. So the half of me is coming home, the other half of me is away from home.
Yeah, yeah. We had a lovely get together in the real world in Wexford recently, but you're back in Michigan, Aideen. And
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to you today about your work and your confidence in singing
hmm
is what you're all about, yeah?
Yeah. I
And
set up my business there in 2016 after spending a year doing other holistic therapies and things that I had done before. I was a holistic dietitian and I had kind of gone off track. I had kind of ended up taking lots of courses based on friends that I had, really. And I hadn't done anything with music in years because I had a mindset or a kind of mental block that my dad gave me. Like he didn't realize what he was doing, but he kind of had a negative, you know, um, kind of outlook for music as a career. And I
mm,
know a lot of people will feel that way because it can be difficult, especially for professional musicians of a certain level, to make a living. So that kind of had blocked me from moving forward with doing anything with music. But I decided to take the leap. I asked for some inspiration. I asked for some guidance. And what happened was I got a little thought came in my head to start doing workshops about singing for adults
mm,
that wanted to learn to sing for fun. So it was different from the normal singing teacher where you'd be mainly working with children. Um, I kind of started a new style of teaching singing that
yeah,
was really more for people who didn't see themselves necessarily as singers, but were curious about that and wanted to build confidence in themselves and to learn a new skill as an adult, which isn't that easy because we can be very hard on ourselves as adults
yeah.
when it comes to learning new things.
Yeah, yeah. And you described yourself as a holistic singing coach, Aideen. So,
Yes.
so is there a difference between a holistic singing coach and another singing coach? What is the difference?
Do you know each singing coach is going to be slightly different in what they how they approach the student and what they can bring to it. So when I was working in holistic therapies and I was on my own personal development journey, I've picked up a lot of different techniques and insight into um, the way that we think firstly. So the mind is very important when it comes to singing. If you think of yourself as a bad singer, or if there's a thought running around in your head going, don't give up your day job, or you're why are you singing? Things that people might have even said to you when you were younger.
Yeah,
If those things are in your mind, that blocks you entirely from even taking a singing lesson. It blocks you entirely from practicing. So you have to start. The process has to start with how you see yourself, your identity, and kind of any blocks that you may have. So that's what I start with most students, and it tends to come up in the first lesson if there's a block like that, because
yeah,
they won't be able to really enjoy the lesson, and
yeah,
they won't kind of give themselves to it. So from the holistic perspective, the first thing is I look at the is your mindset. And then when we look at the physiology of singing, which is something that some teachers don't know a lot about,
yeah,
the actual way the larynx moves, if your jaw is tight and things like that, if your tongue is tight, you've heard of tongue tied.
yeah,
Well, actually, for singers, our tongues can actually create a tension that blocks the sound from moving through the mouth.
yeah,
Um, so that would be the second part, would be the physical side of it.
yeah,
And then what I would do is there's a lot to do with the emotions within singing as well, because we often sing about songs that are about the situations that we are going through in the moment, or they're about events that were very difficult, or they're very significant emotional events in our lives. So it becomes a journey then through the emotional kind of content that you're bringing to the teaching through what your song choices are.
Yeah.
And in order to really sing well, you have to be strong in yourself. Like you
Yeah.
can't break down and cry in the middle of a song. And I've had loads of really interesting journeys with students where they'll come and they'll sing about heartache for the first 6 months,
Yeah.
and then they'll have a breakthrough, and then they won't be singing about heartbreak half as much after that,
Yeah.
because they've had that time to process emotional stuff through their singing. And then I would say the next one for me is the spiritual side, which is about connection. It's about that loving energy within each of us, and how a song and sound, and even our sound of our voices, our speaking voices, can actually be very soothing and very connecting, or it can be harsh and kind of, holding you back and holding other people back from meeting you
Mm.
from the heart.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so it's, and there's other things from the holistic perspective. You might have dietary issues that you may need to look at if you've got sinus problems. So I have a background in trying to look at the whole person, which is what holistic means. So
Yeah.
for every single person, it's different. Some people won't have any emotional issue to deal with. Some people won't have any spiritual issue. They might already be singing fully from the heart, from
Yeah.
their soul almost.
Yeah.
But they need help on the physical, or they might need help in their mindset.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's great.
And of course, the energy, I mean, obviously when you look at it from the energy point of view, the energy that you portray in all levels, then obviously impacts, and even just liberating the voice, if you like, is a huge part of it, isn't it, Aideen? Yeah.
It is. When see, it's all, the chakra system is so interesting, in how it interacts. Like our throat chakra isn't just about the throat chakra. Our
Yeah.
throat chakra is affected by our root chakra, by our sacral chakra, whether you believe it's safe for you to speak.
Yeah.
So safety is something that comes up a lot in the root chakra.
Yeah.
So whatever the energy of your body is, it's holding everything that you've done in your life. It's holding how you see yourself. And the throat, if it's caught in any way, you may need to address other things within the energy system that will help to release it. And when it is released and you've got a connection, you're kind of connected to above and below, you end up with a lot of, I would say, manifesting power.
Yeah.
Because you're able to balance that, what's real with what's possible, ideal. And it means that when you speak, it has more power to create. And it can be to create an atmosphere for an audience. It can be to create, a beautiful, like, soothing environment for your baby. If you're a mother and you're singing for your baby, it can be just to create change in your own physical body so that you feel brilliant afterwards. But it is all to do with energy, for sure. And we have a huge amount of energy, each of us, but a lot of it can get blocked, unfortunately.
So, I mean, the work that you do, Aideen, is on a holistic level. It's almost like using the voice to heal, almost, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say that no matter what you want to come for, your voice is going to have, using the voice will have a healing effect.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily that I'd say to every student, okay, you're coming to me for healing. No. A lot of people will just come to me because they want to be able to sing a party piece. But the blocks that are holding them back from being able to do that are usually obvious to them. Most people will say, yes, actually, I had a situation in school. I remember a specific event. And oh, by the way, I was a bit of, kind of put down. Like I was told to shut up a lot as a child, or I was the youngest and nobody listened to me. Or, I was very shy. I never actually spoke until I was much older. I didn't use my voice in the way some children would do. So it all depends on who you are. And who we are right now, today, in this moment, is a product of everything we've ever done.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a product of every, event that had a significant impact on us. So yes, it is holistic, it is healing, but it also is about being able to sing and have fun with that, and about releasing that inner child, I think, because I would feel that a free voice is really connected to the inner child, that free part of ourselves, like, that can scream or yell or make a silly noise without worrying about what other people are thinking. They don't have a lot, most children don't have a lot of shame about their voice, but we can have a lot of shame about our voices as adults, unfortunately.
Yeah. And the confidence bit, were you always confident in your own voice, or did you develop that, or is that?
I had some confidence, but I had a lot of mental blocks to actually taking action based on, like you wouldn't have known that I was lacking confidence in a conversation, but you'd know I was lacking confidence in that I never did anything about wanting to sing until I was in my late 20s. Like I'd wanted to do it my whole life. I had applied to acting school actually straight after secondary school, and my dad said, no, no, no. And like, he might have been right. I mean, I studied psychology and it was very interesting, which has been a huge benefit to my students that I went on this different journey, kind of a little bit more circuitous. I went on the long road basically, and it has taught me a huge amount. And it's been well worthwhile, but it took me a long time to come to actually do what I wanted to do. So I'm very in a lot of ways I'm very similar to my students, because a lot of them have wanted to sing for a long time, or they've wished that they could sing. And I remember at age 28, someone said to me, Aideen, what's your dream? And I said, well, I want to be a singer, but I can't do that.
Yeah.
So I had shut myself down because of the life I'd had and because of the advice I'd been given. I was like, no, well, I can't do that. But when I said at that time, that was one of the only times I actually noticed that it was me blocking myself.
Yeah.
So I feel that it's a deeper thing than just the mind. Anything is, there's the energy and the spirit, and there's so much to the human person to be holistic and fully holistic. But for me, a lot of my block to singing was mental, and some spiritual as well, because I had some healing to do in that regard as well. And that's why I do a lot of meditation, and I actually have a sound meditation class where I teach people how to use their voice to meditate using mantras. So some of my students that are in my singing class are also very interested in that and do both. And then some of my students have no interest in mantras, but they'll get what they want from the singing. The Singing Room is the name of the program that I run for singers.
Yeah, and I'm really interested in the mantra meditation, and I was lucky enough to get to one of your classes, and I loved it. Yeah. So, was there a particular point along the way where you that confidence, where it just flipped for you, or was it one event, or was it a series of events?
No, to me it was for me it was I spent a lot of time thinking too big. Like I wanted this and I wanted that, and nothing was happening. And through my own spiritual journey, I started to be more kind of step by step in my approach to things. So it actually was a very gradual change for me, having started my business, and like over the next 3 years or so, I became the person I am now. So I can't say that there was one big occasion. And to be honest with you, for most of my students, it's a similar thing. Like they might have one highlight moment where they might sing at a concert or something. But with singing and with the many physical processes, it actually is day by day practice that creates that competency, and it helps that you do it regularly, and it's about building bit by bit rather than having like one big breakthrough. But there are milestones along the way for everybody, and what I do is I try and work with each person to see what it is their next milestone needs to be, that they're ready for, and which milestones they can skip because they might have already, they might already be okay in an emotional sense or in a physical sense around their singing. They just want to get their mindset right, or they might more want to work on the connection with the audience. Everybody's different, and I like to kind of help the person based on where they're at any particular moment.
Sure. So the singing room, Aideen, is your that's your course, is it, that people can come to? So who comes to the singing room, and how does all that work? What you run a series of classes, or?
Yeah, so the singing room is my group program, and it's a like-minded kind of beginner and intermediate singers come together, and we have two classes each week. So the two classes are included for the monthly price. So you get 3 hours of teaching a week, an hour and a half on a Tuesday night and an hour and a half on a Wednesday night. And I run them at times that suit my Irish students because when I moved to Michigan, my main people that I worked with were all Irish. So for me, it's 2:30 in the afternoon, and for anyone in Ireland, it's 7:30. So 7:30 to 9. But it's really about the supportive group environment and working with people. Then for the first part of the class is always about, working on our technique, the physical side of it.
Yeah.
And because the physical side is something that you need to be doing regularly. It's not something that if you do it once a month that you're going to get an improvement. The same way that if you went for a walk once a month, you wouldn't get any fitter. You need to be going 3 times a week.
Yeah.
So people forget that singing is a physical act. There's a lot happening in the larynx area, which is your throat area, that actually things move. If I go really fast, you'll feel everything moving in the neck. And some people don't have that ability. They don't have that flexibility or the strength. So we do spend a lot on the physical side of it in the classes. And then everybody, when they feel they're ready within that safe environment, they'll share a part of a song, or they might share a full song depending on where they are at in their own journey. And through the song that they choose, that's where I actually tune in to see what it is next for them. Do they need help on so is there some insight I can give them about the way they sing? Like for instance, I had one student, and at the beginning and at the end of every line, it would feel like it was like a big deal. So it was like, my body lies over the ocean. And it would be like, oh my goodness, like you'd be worried about when she's going to start the next line, because it was like there was an energy of fear to the beginning and the end of the line. And I said to the person, are you like that on the phone? Because I know people who are like that on the phone. Then they get on the phone, it's like, and then when they leave, they're like, boom, And I was like, are you like that sometimes in conversations? Do you like worry about how you finish a conversation? And she was like, yeah, I actually do. And so there's times where I'll give a little insight that is actually a life lesson. A simple little insight from me can make you aware of how you are on a daily basis in your general life, that allows you to see it. Because when we see something about ourselves, it changes it automatically. And then the next step then would be, well, what actually do I need to do next to diffuse that a little bit? So it's very interesting. And I love working with couples as well, John. I don't know if you knew this, but I work with couples who want to sing together. And I have a few couples that actually want to sing for an event like a wedding. And I find that listening to two people singing together, there's often like one person might be trying too hard and the other person might be too relaxed, and they're not gelling energetically in the way that they could vocally. And I think, and a lot of the students will come back and say, you've said something to me that actually was really profound, Aideen. But I don't try and make it a heavy kind of experience. The classes are all about having fun.
Yeah.
But there's something happens when I work with someone intuitively. Sometimes I'm guided on the thing to say that's going to unlock their voice or unlock their energy in some way in everyday life, as well as just in singing.
Yeah. And is there a particular type of singing, or is there a particular clientele that you're after, or is it just open to anyone, or how does that work?
Well, to be really honest, if you're doing a group class and you want to sing opera and you've never done opera before, that's never going to happen in a group class, because for certain types of singing, we need extra on the physical side. We need extra exercises, and you need one-to-one attention. And for some people as well that are coming to me that don't hold pitch well, so they find it hard to tune where they're supposed to be, they may need the one-to-ones as well. But in general, my group classes are people who are bringing to me pop songs, folk songs, Irish songs, songs that are the general public's kind of, cup of tea. Yeah. Country music. I have one guy that has been with me for a long time doing rap music. and
Wow.
he's bringing out an album. Like he's so interesting. I have to introduce you to him, John, because he writes rap around. You actually met him, did you,
Daniel,
Daniel?
was it?
Yes. See, John has actually met a
Daniel
few of
is
my
amazing. Yeah.
students.
Yeah.
So I will work with anyone if I can work with them at all. I will work with them. But there's and I have worked with one of my students. Loves to bring in an aria here and there, but I always feel a little bit inadequate because I know if they went to a classical singing teacher that he would improve a lot faster. But he's no interest in taking a weekly one-to-one with the classical teacher. He prefers doing the group classes with me, so he'll muddle through it so that it's good enough for him.
Yeah.
And that's okay with me, but I feel like now and again I'm like, would you come to me for a one-to-one? And it can be hard for me to get people to come for the one-to-one
Yeah.
if they're not interested. But I'm not going to force anyone. I believe that it's more important that you are singing and that you're sharing where you're at any particular moment. It doesn't have to be perfect for
Yeah.
people to enjoy it. And that is proven to me every week, because there's always something positive people will say about anybody's performance, whether it is, I like the tone of your voice, I love that song, I love the emotion you put in. It isn't just about how good a singer you are,
Yeah.
it's more about the sharing of the song.
Yeah. Yeah. And tell me, do you do professional gigs yourself as well, or do you?
Oh, well, I would be doing a lot more if I wasn't during, in lockdown for the last 2 years. Mike and I did an open mic night in a venue called the Cabbage Shed. It used to be a storage place for cabbages. Would you believe it? And now it's a bar and a restaurant in here in Michigan. So we've done one night and we sang 2 songs, but it was a kind of a rowdy crowd, so we hadn't picked quite the right songs for it. But we will do more, and we are working on original songs together at the moment. And we have released a number of singles during lockdown that are on our YouTube channel, which is Super Alchemy Records. So anybody can go on Super Alchemy Records and see all the music that I've done with both my husband, who likes a different style of music, and just my own solo stuff, which is a little bit more acoustic in the tone.
Sure. I remember you did a gig when you were back in Ireland. I think you did a gig on RTE Nationwide at one stage. I remember.
That's right.
Into that.
Do you know, it was really amazing. I had the insight to start my workshops in December 2015. And I started teaching in February 2016. And by October 2016, someone on Nationwide had heard about me and wanted to, because it was so different. Like, there's very few places adults can go to learn to sing that's relaxed, that isn't like, now learn your scales and, very regimented, and here's your new song. This is grade 1 and this is grade 2. And like, I let people sing whatever they want, because I think that in the healing process, that's actually has a huge benefit. So I think it was so different, and Nationwide were very interested in the type of people that were coming to me as well, because a lot of them were coming because they wanted to, deal with some things that were going on with them, or health issues. One lady had a thyroid problem, so that had shut down her voice. Another woman had a bereavement in the family and was trying to do something to get away from that and to kind of to be happy again in a way after a very sad time. So it's very interesting, the people that come to me. And if the Nationwide is actually on my YouTube channel, Confidence in Singing YouTube channel, if anyone wants to have a look. But it was really, I felt like, God, I'm only doing this about 6 or 8 months. Like, I can't believe this is happening. So I was really honored that they did that so soon after I started my business.
Yeah. And which came first for you, Aideen? Was it the meditation or the singing? Which one came
I didn't
first?
teach meditation until last year, but I had one of the reasons I felt strong enough and grounded enough to set up my business was because I had been meditating.
Yeah.
And my teacher, I remember saying to my teacher, do you have to deserve good things to happen? And because I had a big problem with this, because I had felt like I made a lot of mistakes in my life, and I had taken all these paths that I had a lot of fair weather friends, people that I don't even keep in touch with anymore. Do you know what I mean? Because the energy of that wasn't really right for me. And like I said, I did loads of holistic stuff because of people that I knew, when actually I would have preferred to been doing more music. So I felt like I had wasted a lot of time, and I was hard on myself about that. And she said, "No, Aideen, you don't. It's not about being deserving. It's about sowing seeds."
Yeah.
So that changed my mindset entirely when she said that, because I actually started going, right, I'll just see what happens. I'll sow a seed. I'll say to my friend Declan, would you help me with my workshop, and see if he'll let me use his venue for free, and see if a few of his friends would like to go. And the next thing I had, like a month later, I had a poster that I was putting up about the workshop, you know.
Yeah.
So I did it, everything very step by step. And it's against my childish self was never like that. My childish self was always like, jump straight in and, you know, go for it. And whereas the step-by-step approach has been a bit better for me. And that's happened because of meditating, because I'm more grounded. I've lower or less expectation of the outcome, but I'm willing to put the work in whether I know it's going to work out or not. I will still put something out there, and I will take action regularly, that's going to bring me closer to where I want to go.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. And is it amateurs only, or is it people who is there a room for people who want to be professional singers as well in your class? Or
Yeah, definitely. And one of my current students is a professional singer. Like, she sings she does her gigs and everything. So she does join in the singing room because she doesn't know anything about the physical side, and she doesn't know anything about warming up. So she doesn't have a background in having a lot of singing lessons. So in that regard, I'm filling a gap for her. And then when we're working on individual songs, she'll pick up the tips from the people that are less that are more beginner in the class. But she always gets time that she works with me one-to-one in each class as well. And I've had a lot of success with people that work in bands. That say, like a bass player that wants to sing backing vocals. So I might do, for that kind of person, often the one-to-one program is better. So the one-to-one program I do with people is the 3-month, 2 lesson a month, I should say. So they do 6 sessions with me over 3 months. And often someone like that will come for the 6 and they won't need me as much anymore after that. They'd have gotten to where they want to go within a short space of time, because I can hone in on what they particularly need. I remember one girl, she was in a band, and she was having a lot of trouble with certain songs. And she came to me for 3 lessons, and she was like, that's brilliant, Aideen. You cured me. Do you know what I mean? I'm grand now. I don't get sore. My throat isn't sore after gigs anymore. I can sing the high notes that I wanted to sing. So it can be really beneficial if somebody is, struggling with any aspect of singing, or doesn't know much about warming up, or doesn't know much about the physiology of singing. I can definitely help them. And it might not be that they'd need to stay with me as long as some of my intermediate and my beginner students.
Okay, great stuff, Aideen. So how do we get to the singing room? What way do you, how do you advertise that, or what way do we contact you?
I have my Facebook page is Confidence in Singing. So I have a post up there that's very recent about the singing room. And what I do is, anywhere that I promote it, so I'm on Instagram, my website is just confidenceinsinging.com. And there's a free consultation there. So people can actually book in and have a chat with me first to see if the group course is better for them or one-to-one is better. And then, I have my Zoom link for the singing room. So it doesn't take very long to get people signed up. If they're interested, just give me a shout on Facebook, or, email me info@confidenceinsinging.com, or check out my website, confidenceinsinging.com. And there's loads of information there, so you can find out a bit more.
That's brilliant, Aideen. And they can also connect with you on your Holistic Academy, because we're delighted to have you as part of our project as well. So that's another place where they can get a hold of you. Yeah.
Absolutely. So all my information is there, and the links and everything. So it's yourholisticacademy.com, isn't it?
It is indeed.
And the search button is there, so you can put in my name. So my full name is Aideen Ní Riada, Riada. So, but Confidence in Singing, if you search that, it'll probably come up as well.
Yeah, brilliant, Aideen. Listen, it's lovely to talk to you today, and best of luck with your with all your classes coming up. And I'm going to tune back into your meditation class very soon as well, because I loved it the last time I was there.
Well, I'm starting my class at 10 or 10 my time, so in 25 minutes if you want
All
to
right.
hop on.
Okay.
And thanks to everybody who's been watching live on Facebook, or if you're watching the replay. It's just lovely. It's such a, I always feel like, you know, whether you're singing or you're speaking, if someone actually gives you their time and listens to what you have to say, to me, that's a compliment.
Yeah.
That's really like, you know, a kindness almost, because there's so many other distractions and there's so many other responsibilities people have. So anybody who's taken the time to have a listen in today, thank you.
And we'll have the links for all your connections afterwards, Aideen, as well, and it'll be on LinkedIn and Facebook for anybody who wants to see the recording as well. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much, Aideen. Thank you so much. Take care.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye.